Torpedoes streaked through the black waters of Surigao Strait, with Fuso burning and Yamashiro locked in. This was one of the greatest battleship duels of all time. Why did Japan's mighty battleships sail directly into certain destruction? By late 1944, Japan's empire was collapsing. The Philippines had become the critical hinge. Lose them, and Japan's supply lines to oil and raw materials would be severed. In desperation, Imperial Command launched Operation Shogo, a last-ditch counterattack to halt the American advance. It was a gamble that relied on confusing US forces, splitting their fleets, and somehow turning back the tide. Among the ships ordered forward were two aging giants of the Japanese Navy, Fuso and Yamashiro. Once symbols of naval power, they were outdated by carrier warfare, slower than their American counterparts, but still bristling with heavy guns. For Japanese commanders, they were expendable pawns in a larger strategy, thrown into battle to bleed the enemy, no matter the cost. The US 7th Fleet, under Rear Admiral Jesse Oldendorf, anticipated the move. Intelligence had revealed Japanese intentions. By positioning battleships, cruisers, and destroyers across the narrow Surigao Strait, Oldendorf created the perfect killing ground. He intended to cross the T, a maneuver where his entire line could fire broadsides while the Japanese advanced head-on with limited arcs of return fire. The stage was set. Outdated battleships advancing through the night against a perfectly prepared American gauntlet. In hours, history would record the last great clash of battleships. In the darkness ahead, silence gave way to the first signs of contact. At 0200 hours, the Japanese Southern Force pushed into Surigao Strait. Two columns advanced in near-black conditions, destroyers leading, battleships following. On the surface, the water appeared calm, but above, American aircraft had already tracked their approach. The US line was waiting. Cruisers and destroyers under Oldendorf's command were the first to make radar contact. Screens lit up with unmistakable signatures, multiple large targets, closing fast. The Americans now knew exactly what was coming. This was not guesswork, it was precision targeting in the age of radar. Before Fuso and Yamashiro even glimpsed their enemy, US destroyers launched a wave of torpedoes into the narrow channel. Sleek steel tubes knifed through the water toward the Japanese columns. The first explosions ripped the night apart with detonations echoing across the strait, flames lighting the dark horizon. Confusion spread through the Japanese formation. Fuso shuddered under heavy hits, fires breaking out across her decks. Some ships maneuvered to avoid torpedoes, but the narrow passage offered little room. The Americans had struck first, disrupting order before the battleships could even bring their main guns into play. The approach had become chaos. The trap was only beginning to close. The torpedo barrage slammed into the Japanese line. Fuso was struck multiple times, her hull buckling under the force. Flames raced skyward as secondary explosions ripped through her midsection. In the chaos and smoke, the massive battleship broke apart. Witnesses later reported she split in two, her halves burning before slipping beneath the waves. Hundreds of sailors were swallowed in moments, her end swift, brutal, and almost invisible in the dark. Yet, even with Fuso destroyed, the Japanese column did not retreat. Yamashiro, still intact, pressed forward under the command of Admiral Nishimura. He refused to turn back. With honor and determination, he drove his flagship deeper into the strait, straight into the jaws of Oldendorf's trap. US destroyers kept up the assault, darting from the shadows, launching spread after spread of torpedoes. Each strike sowed more confusion among the Japanese escorts. Columns wavered, ships scattered, and order disintegrated. The tight formation that had entered the strait minutes earlier was now crippled, half-blind, and bleeding fire. The battle was already tilting irreversibly. Fuso was gone. Yamashiro was alone. And ahead, the full weight of the American battle line waited in silence. The moment of reckoning arrived. Yamashiro faced death from all directions. As dawn approached, Oldendorf executed the classic maneuver, crossing the T. Every US battleship's forward guns raked Yamashiro with devastating precision. Her return fire was largely ineffective, with a ton of limited arcs, smoke, and chaos blocking aim. The Japanese flagship, once a symbol of power, now became a target for concentrated broadsides. Shells tore through the decks, exploding inside gun turrets. Towers collapsed under relentless fire, fires spreading uncontrollably. Crewmen scrambled, trapped between burning corridors and flooding compartments. Yamashiro pitched and rolled, water seeping through shattered bulkheads, while her engines faltered under constant shell impact. Despite the overwhelming destruction, Admiral Nishimura pressed forward, refusing to surrender. His determination kept Yamashiro moving deeper into the kill zone, but each minute brought catastrophic losses. Secondary explosions ripped apart gun batteries, the hull cracked, and chaos ruled the bridge. American gunners, coordinated and patient, maintained perfect range and timing. Torpedo launches from nearby destroyers compounded the damage, striking amidships and destabilizing what remained of Yamashiro's structure. The strait was a controlled maelstrom, US forces executing the perfect ambush, Japanese ships disintegrating under precise, unrelenting fire. By the time Yamashiro began to list heavily, it was clear. No hope remained. The last great battleship duel of history was nearing its final violent conclusion. The final moments were inevitable. Destruction claimed every advantage. Yamashiro listed heavily, her hull fractured by relentless shellfire and torpedo strikes. Fires consumed remaining sections of the ship as explosions tore through ammunition stores. The massive vessel pitched violently before capsizing, sliding beneath the dark waters of Surigao Strait. Only a handful of survivors were pulled from the wreckage, clinging to debris amid the wreck-strewn channel. The remainder of the Japanese southern force fared no better. Heavy losses among battleships, cruisers, and destroyers left only small escorts to limp away under the fading horizon. The operation had failed. Japan's last line of traditional naval defense was annihilated in a single, decisive engagement. For the US 7th Fleet, the battle confirmed the dominance of radar, torpedoes, and well-coordinated gunnery over outdated battleship formations. The clash marked history's final battleship duel, a violent testament to strategic precision and overwhelming firepower. Surigao Strait had become a tomb for Fuso and Yamashiro, a grim showcase of how tactics, technology, and timing could obliterate even the largest warships. The era of battleships had ended. The carriers and submarines that followed would shape naval warfare for decades, leaving this duel as both a spectacle and a warning. The greatest battleship duel was over. It was very decisive and unforgettable.